Yeah, that was big. That was big. Um, Again, go back to just proud of the kids a couple weeks ago or a week ago too, at South Carolina after a tough loss, posed with the question of how do you want to fill this game and do you want to play UConn? And it was a let's go, coach. After everything we've been through, a lot of people would have, a lot of teams, a lot of kids would have said, let's take the time off, or can we find somebody that hadn't won 11 national championships, but they didn't. And then the crowd showed up, and we had a little adversity this morning. As happy as we are, we're just, there's so many other people that could have been here and enjoyed this with us. So we'll watch it back with them tomorrow. And that's the opener.
Paul, go ahead.
Hey, just talk about the last couple of minutes. I mean, you've been in that spot, and you said earlier this week you need something to bounce your way. But do you make your own luck a little bit? You feel like your team made their luck tonight?
Yeah, I think two things that jump to my mind. I'm sure when I watch the film there'll be a lot more, but Marquisha Davis coming in and putting a stop to the Paige Becker's run, and then Amber Ramirez boxing out and getting a defender on her back to get a free throw. Those are the rebounds we've been missing. I think we get out rebounded by 6, which is just if that line had been in Vegas, you could have been a billionaire with that bet. But like I said, I'm proud of the kids for taking the game. I'm proud of them for wanting to do it, and then to come out and perform under all this with all the different things that you could have made excuses about what we've been through. But here's the other thing. I think what we did was we won the game in the middle half of the game. You didn't have to win it at the end because I think we opened the half on 11-0 run. Is that so? I mean, 11 or 12 maybe. It got more than that. I don't know, but preparation was good and it carried over.
Nate, go ahead.
Yeah, Mike, just how significant for the program to beat Baylor and UConn in the same season?
It's got to pay dividends in some shape, form, or fashion. I think we won't know probably. I tell you this, I had 370 text messages when I went back and got the phone, so there was a lot of people watching. So it's got to have benefits in recruiting. It's got to have benefits in, bringing 4,000 fans out again, maybe sometime later in the year when we need them. But I do think what it signifies is that this particular group and our administration is supportive enough of us to say, first of all, play the game, and then to have a chance to compete and to win it. This will be another one that does not have a 24-hour moratorium. We will celebrate this one for a little longer than that, and we will then turn our attention to Auburn for the game on Sunday.
And also just Chelsea's game in general, just what you think?
Performance. There's performers and there's performances. But that kid, when the big stage and the big shot needed to come, was crucial. And I thought she was so patient and had great awareness and understanding. Then I look down here right now, and Taylor Thomas is plus 17 for the game. She was unbelievable defensively on a Dota. And this is a kid that is an All-American, and she got 2 field goal attempts and 2 rebounds. So there's a lot of performances. Chelsea's obviously got us off to a great start. And when she does that, we usually feed off of her. And then we got Amber a bunch of looks today that we've really struggled to find her the last few games. And that obviously gave us a punch that we needed to have in crucial times.
Thank you.
Yes.
Coach, you got anything else?
Sorry about that. Coach, what was the key to that 11-0 run to start the half?
Well, I thought we had some good matchups, and we talked about them a little bit at halftime, and Amber had hit the one going in, so we came out and got her another look right off the bat. And then I thought it fed into our defensive energy, allowed us to get back in transition. We came up with some stops. Coach Todd made a couple of little just slight defensive adjustments that allowed us, I think, to come up with a couple more stops. And, there's so many parallels to and it's going to be such a bad cliche, but the movie Miracle, where, the hockey movie about the Olympics, UConn they don't always get a chance to see their own blood sometimes because they're not in many close games. And we just felt like if we could keep it close and hang around, we have been in so many just this last couple of months. So I thought that third quarter gave us a little bit of breathing room. It gave us some chances to rest. It gave us a chance to play some kids that were a little bit tired rather than having to sub. And it paid off in a big way down the stretch when Becker started taking over. We had enough cushion that run only put them up one, maybe. I think they went up one, and we called a timeout, maybe, or they called a timeout. They called a timeout. I remember they called a timeout, and then I think we came back and scored right back to get it back to 5. So kids were real resilient today.
And what was the message? You called a timeout there with 15 seconds left. What was the message there? And what did you think about Amber? She looked like she had maybe a look at a three, but took the last couple of seconds off the shot clock.
Yeah, well, I think she looked at the game clock instead of the shot clock is what she told me. So that's on me. I didn't communicate that well enough. That's poor coaching. But she was looking up at the game clock instead of the shot clock, and it got down a little bit too low to get a good shot. I thought she took it to the basket, though, and gave us a chance to either draw a foul or make it, but neither one of those happened. So we were back quick on defense and allowed us to, I thought it took them a while to call the timeout. That's where I'm going with the whole hockey thing. Like, they walked it up the floor and they passed it back a couple of times and then took a timeout with 0.3 seconds, which you can't get a shot off at that point in time. It has to be a tip. So, but that was where that came into my head.
Seth, go ahead.
Mike, you mentioned the defensive adjustments in that third quarter. What were they?
We started guarding the ball screens a little bit differently. Some of those handoffs were really giving us fits, creating some matchups that weren't too favorable for us. So just having Coach Todd back in preparation was so big. I tried to step in and take over the defense for a couple of weeks. It didn't work so good. So I'm so glad he was back to be able to focus a little bit more on the offense and let him handle the defense. But some ball screen stuff and then a couple of matchups. We did some pre-switching. We'd get down transition knowing that we can switch some actions. And the big number is that we only get out rebounded by 6. That's, like I said, that just keeps coming back at me when I see that, because this is a type of team that has been able to just shoot till they make it, and that didn't happen tonight.
Also want to ask you about Daniels and Michaela. She's drawing a tough assignment, Kristen Williams, and then you even put her on Becker's there for a little while. What do you think about her defense? She's
always guarded our other team's best perimeter player, no matter the size. She held Ryan Howard to 1 for 10 one year. She was holding her to about that this year before she got in foul trouble. She's just really committed to it, has great preparation, and she just bothers you. Nobody really in practice likes her to be guarding you either, because she kind of gets up underneath you. But her play, without Jalen today, we had to have those 3 kids. Jalen subs for 4 players. She subs for Slocum, Chelsea, Amber, and Michaela. So we didn't have that today. So each one of those kids needed to play about 3 or 4 extra minutes, and then Q play very valuable minutes. And then we needed Riley in there. I thought Riley's 2 minutes were 2.5, 3 minutes were really productive as well.
Michelle, go ahead.
Yeah, Mike, I had 2 if I could squeeze those in. First, Can you talk about the resiliency, because it's so hard to lose some of the games you guys have lost, obviously the A&M game and the Georgia game coming, the resiliency of not letting that get to you at the end of a tough, close game, to not say, oh God, here we go again. You kids didn't do that. And then I just have to ask you, do you remember where you were the Miracle on Ice game back in 1980? Do you remember where you were?
I do. I was probably 11, maybe 12. I didn't understand the significance. But I tell you what, I was scared to death of the Russians because I had seen Rocky IV and Hunt for Red October and Red Dawn and all that stuff. So I was just scared to death of Russians. And I remember watching that game. And then I remember it was either my uncle, it was probably one of my uncles, when I was celebrating, he goes, we didn't win the gold medal yet, right? And it just devastated me. I was like, wait, what? We just beat the champs. It's like wrestling. If you beat the champs, you get the belt. I remember that. I don't remember exactly where we were. I think I was at my Uncle Donnie's house, but I'll have to go back and ask my mom. She's got a memory like a steel trap. So I'll get back to you on that, Michelle. And then my memory obviously is not very good. I don't remember the resiliency.
Yeah.
I thought that showed even in just them wanting to play this game. This all happened in the locker room at South Carolina after we didn't play them very close, but we played them close for 3.5 quarters. I just tell you, these kids are kind of calloused. That's what I would tell you. I feel like we've done with the 1 point loss with 0.3 seconds to Georgia, the loss to Texas A&M with 0.4 or whatever. As long as it doesn't tear you apart, it'll build a little callus on you there. And that's kind of what our group has been on. I think we still feel like we have stuff to prove. Again, we're not playing just the top 25. We're playing the top fives. And there's a big difference between playing the top five. We now have played Maryland and Baylor and UConn and South Carolina, and those guys have all been at or near the top five all year long. So I think that's what it builds up is some callousness, and just the way where these kids came from. Not all of them were, that highly recruited. I had a lot of kids telling me when this game happened that, I never got recruited by UConn, so it's going to be fun to play against them. Or I played with this player that did get recruited by UConn. So, this got a lot of significance. We respect, obviously, the history and what UConn has done for our game and what Coach Ariema has done for our game. So, to have a win over for them in this season when everything's so crazy, I'm so thankful they played this game. He could have very easily said no. But that's why they're a championship program, and we learned a lot from them today that we'll carry over in the future of our program.
Porter, go
Thanks,
ahead.
Mike. Congrats.
Thanks, Michelle.
Coach, first talk about the crowd, of course, the electric atmosphere, but then also it seemed like UConn played a similar style that you do with one down low and four back. So how did that help you really stay in the game and then take the lead? Yeah, the crowd, I was wrong earlier in the week when I said I thought our crowd would be worth 10 points. I think they were worth 15. They were here early. They were active. It sounded like 14,000 and not 4,000. And just deal with the changing of the time and then sell it out. So the crowd was worth 10 to 15 points. I'll have to go back and do some calculations. But and then what was the second part, Porter? I asked with how they done their offensive transition in the defense. Yeah. Adota got in some foul trouble. And then obviously Edwards did too. So we were going to try to go at them a little bit. That was a plan for us. I look down, I see Chelsea drew 10 fouls. And that got us in the bonus for other kids to get to the foul line tonight. I honestly can't believe we won the game going 11 of 20 from the free throw line. I just felt like when we would miss, Slocum missed 2 or 3 that she normally makes. I think maybe Chelsea even missed 1, but you're just going, oh no, this is going to be what gets us. But the transition, they rebounded. They rebounded in a different way than like South Carolina and those guys do. But if we hadn't played all those people that we've played, we wouldn't have been able to do that today against UConn.
Hayden, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, really quick, did you get a chance to speak with Gino after the ball game? Did he congratulate you? And just his message to you about this win?
I spoke to him last night when they got into town to make sure they got here. He's been great. He's been a great friend to me over the years. And I got to say hi to him last night briefly when they got into town. And then JC and I passed him coming in the tunnel, and he stopped and saw Bowen and said hi to him, said, this is exactly what I told my team. I knew you guys had great guards, and your guards played great. And he asked about the rest of our season and thanked us for playing the game. And he's a class act. There's an obvious reason that they have the success they have, and will continue to have. I fully believe, just based on how long I think he's going to continue to coach, he'll end up retired the all-time winningest coach in the history of basketball. So for him to say those things about our kids, and what he said in the pregame, even just his pregame press conferences, our kids really respect that and took a lot from it.
I don't see any other ones. Are there any other questions for Coach?
Alyssa. Yep. I saw Alyssa. Troy up the corner.
I just have one, Coach, talking about protecting the basketball. After that first quarter, you guys, both teams had 6 turnovers, and then you finished with 9. They finished with 15. So you're able to really protect that basketball after the first quarter.
That was a little nerves. We were a little nervous the moment, listen, UConn walks out here with, uniforms that only one team in the country has, and sweats that only one team in the country has, and a letter from Kobe Bryant's daughter on their warm-up shirt. You can't help but be down a few points, So we had some nerves. But I thought after that first quarter, like you said, 6 turnovers, then to only turn it over 3 down the stretch. I think one of those was a charge too, really late. So that's really not a live ball turnover. But that's what we got to do. We were a little bit faster today. I know we've been slower, but I don't know not many teams put 90 on UConn historically. So I think we got back to being able to be a little bit better version of ourselves, especially, but that's a good catch, Alyssa, on that turnover changing.
Thanks, Coach, and congratulations.
Thank you. Troy, I think you had your hand up.
Yeah, Coach. I mean, you've been talking about how much you respect Coach Gino and how much he means to you. I mean, there are not many coaches that can say that they've beaten him in their careers, and you're one of them. How significant is that for you?
Not really. I mean, who we beat, I learned a long time ago. I used to walk around when I was an assistant coach, like in the summers, and go, "Oh yeah, we beat y'all. That makes me better than you." It doesn't. It doesn't make you better than them. But what he's a guy who chose to coach women's basketball. I said this to our local people the other day. He's been offered men's jobs. People have said, coach this, coach that, coach this. He loves women's basketball, and I do too. There's no desire. To me, the NBA. This is the pinnacle and I love that about what he's done, and he's taught me that's if you love it, that's what you make it. And that's what I appreciate most about him. But like I say, he didn't have to take this game. He could have done a lot of different other things. And I just think that I will look back one day and you got that over there, you've got that, I beat Tara Vanderver in ping pong one time. I'm really proud of that too. So, that doesn't show up on your coaching record, but that was at the Pac-12 coaches meeting. I like that win about as much as the other ones, but sure. We'll talk about it and he'll gig me about it, but I can guarantee you this, it won't be the last time we play either. That return game just got a little bit more interesting, I think.